you're still going to school.
Yep.
And at what point did, the violence kick in? Because you mentioned the crack era. So I take it that it was always there, I assume. But at one point, it must have been worse
Crips
for
was
you.
coming up to my school to fight me when I was 11 and 12 years old from the other hood. Crips was coming up to my school at 11 and 12 years old, and it wasn't over gangs. It was over girls. It was over who's tough. Nigga on the phone talking to a little girl, and oh yeah, what's her name? And them said this, and then it's on the, and now you're on the phone talking shit, and the next time y'all see each other, it's on. That was going on at 11, 12 years old. But yeah, we was acting like we was gangbanging at 11 and 12 years old, but really it was over girls. But the same niggas that you fighting at 7 years old on the football field, and the same niggas that you fighting at 12 years old over girls that you see at the skating rink and you fight with them is grow up to be the same niggas that's, he don't care that it's 5 years later and you socked him up 5 years ago. He's ready now. He out here shooting niggas and shit now. And when he see you, you could just be an athlete now. But if he got problems with you, you gonna have to figure out what to do in this situation. So either this nigga's on the other side of the field, on the other side of the city, and he's shooting niggas. He don't like me because his girl from way back. What I'm gonna do? Go tell my mama? Tell the police? That put you in a situation. I don't care who you are. I don't give a fuck what you doing in your life now. If you was in that situation, you're gonna do one or two things. You're gonna either move, you're gonna tell the police, or you're gonna shoot back. That's the situation for any kid growing up in Southern California. Any black neighborhood in Southern California. Either he gonna not be it and get the fuck away from it, or he gonna tell, or he gonna, give back.
At what point did your family realize that you were involved in gangs?
I got into a big fight at this football game one time. And you gotta remember the whole time, homie, I'm getting grades. I'm going to school. I'm not missing no school, no referrals or nothing. But like I said, in Southern California, you don't get to choose this shit. You know what I'm saying? The parents know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? The parents know what's going on. They know what colors not to wear outside and what time to come in and what's going on. I think when I first I got into a big fight one time, and everybody at this Pop Warner game heard my name on the loudspeaker, and like I said the whole time, I wasn't fighting or getting into it with niggas about gang shit. That's what they always say. It's over colors. It's not over colors. It's not over. It's never hardly over colors. It's never been over colors. It's always been over personal issues and shit like that. And now they homies is in and they homies is in. Yeah, I was fucking probably 15 years old. Mom's moved me to Texas. I got into a big fight. She shot me to Texas. I ended up going to high school in Texas for a year.
So as soon as your mom figured out that you was
all the way in for
sure,
she wasn't with it.
She wasn't with it.
Shot me to Texas. I went from being in the street, hanging with the homies at Lincoln Park, and going to Lincoln High and doing my thug thing and all that shit, playing quarterback in high school. I played quarterback at Lincoln High at this time. I went from doing that and thugging basically to going to church 3 times a week, homie, for fun. That's how strict my life was when I went to Lubbock, Texas, homie. I was going to church for fun, just to see some females or something at church. Yeah, and it was a shock, a culture shock. But I actually went out there to Texas and really was around. I was around when gangbanging first basically hit West Texas. So basically, my mom sent me to Texas to get away from the gangbanging shit. She sent me out there with my cousin Daphne, which is my mom's cousin. They like sisters. Rest in peace. She picked me up from the airport. She telling me about, how we ain't gonna be doing the shit I was doing at home and all that, and whatever, gang shit behind you or whatever. As I'm pulling up into the neighborhood where she lived, it's about 30 Crips up at the park having initiations in the neighborhood where I'm moving to.
So you're a blood kid and you move right into the middle of a Crip
A
neighborhood.
new Crip neighborhood that's just getting popping. It was LA, it was 30s. The LA 30s, and there was some LA niggas in Lubbock, Texas getting it cracking back in the 80s, late 80s.
How'd that work out for you being there?
It was a trip because I lived over there by Dunbar High School in Lubbock, Texas. I know they're gonna trip when they hear that because I ain't really been back there in a while. Well, I went back and visited a little while ago, but then I went to a school in the Blood neighborhood over there, and I went to Estacado High School in Lubbock. And so basically, with it being so new there, all the kids was just tripping off me and my style, basically trying to learn how to do this gangbanging shit off me. So I was living around the Crips, but they would hang with me just to see how I got down. You know what I mean? And I made friends with some Bloods that went to school where I was at. But I was out there trying to get my grades together, and I actually found out going to school out there by how strict school and education is in Texas that I really was fucking smart and shit. And so then I stayed out there for a year and a half or two. And then after that, I came back to San Diego. And school was easy as fuck. I had one more year of school to go. And I was on the honor roll after that as a senior.
Okay, so you moved to Texas.
Right.
So it sounds like you kind of got on a better path.
Nah, I just started doing my work. It wasn't nothing for me to do. It wasn't shit to do out there. So it was nothing I could do. Okay. I wasn't good. I just couldn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? So I went to school.
And you come
got
back.
Got my grades up.
And what happens when and you still sound like you're still doing good in class and everything?
Yeah. I never fucked up in school. My mom and them didn't play that shit. My mom and them is college educated people, from grandmas to grandpas, aunties, uncles, everybody. But they wasn't having that. So I went out there and got my smarts together, got my learned how to actually be a student, because California don't teach you how to be a student the way Texas do. They really in the education out there. It's crazy.
So you move back, and what happens now? Are you still in the streets all the time, or do you go right back?
Soon as I get back, it just turned all the way right back up. Cause what I left for, it was still lingering around, and you know, I came right back and got to it. But I still was, you know, I was trying to be an athlete at the time still. I went to Chula Vista High School after that.
Is there any situations in the streets that, you know, like any serious situations you could talk about?
Probably
you went through?
I probably ain't gonna talk about too much shit. But whatever I talk about ain't, yeah. No, it was full active gang banging and fighting as a young kid. That's what we was doing in San Diego. And this one niggas was still meet up and fight. It was a little different, you know what I'm saying? It was a little different then. Now all these youngsters just go straight to the guns off the gate. They rap about not fighting and shit. We came up fighting, actually knowing who was who and what was what. And every weekend, shit. That's all it was about. Even though I was trying to be a student and do good in school, shit. That's all it was about.
Okay, I seen in an old interview that Nick Cannon's dad is an original member of Lincoln Park Bloods.
So the way they asked that question in the interview, it was based upon, that my answer was based upon, it was during that time when they was tripping off Soulja Boy and Chris Brown and them, and they was trying to say that, you know, they let the homies on in a you know, out of line type of way, and that they was letting the homies pay to get on. And somebody brought that question to me at the time, and I basically was stating, well, that's not what's going on here with Nick. Nick family really grew up in our neighborhood. Nick grew up in the projects where we all from, you know, moved early, but his family is over there. His family been over there for years, and his pops was around at the time when the homies first started getting the set cracking. Now, one of the forefront members sitting at the table when it got cracking, I'm not saying that, but he was one of the young homies that was running around the neighborhood at the time when the shit was getting put down. You feel me? Yeah, that's what it was. He wasn't no leader of the neighborhood or no shit like that. That's not what I said. What I said in that interview was that he was one of the first homies around at the time, And the big homies that's original members that was the first homies told me this. You feel me? So the interviewer, the what you call it, the clickbait read a little bit different, you know what I'm saying, than I was supposed to read. But Nick family been around in our neighborhood for a long time. And they grew up in the heart of our neighborhood, you know what I mean?
I see. So that's how the connection with you and Nick Cannon and everything
For sure.
happens is his dad and everything?
That to a degree, but nah, just us
Nick,
being...
you knew Nick when he was a kid?
Yeah. He was a little homie running around the neighborhood. He was a little kid. I was older than Nick, you know what I'm saying? But it come from being factors in our city just as much as that, you know what I mean?